Law. I think it's time to just talk. I haven't done a desktop stream in a while. I think it's time. There were so many topics though, fuck. I really should write these things down. Well, base game, what's up, Warrior?
Would you say it's a fair statement to say the warrior and mace skills and, sort of that side of the tree in particular is in a state where it has the worst of all of them? So it has the worst of the defenses and armor, it has the
Dude,
worst
Darth fucking is so mad about Warrior.
life, and it has basically the worst.
Playing Warrior makes you hate the game.
As well.
100%.
So you see why I'm feedbacking so hard in relation to this archetype.
Man, that's a brutal savaging, but I suppose I can't necessarily disagree with any of those with any of those assessments.
Bro, I did not expect that fucking in summary question. DM's like, alright, so like, you guys would agree that Warrior literally has the worst of everything, then, yes? Like, Jesus fucking Christ. I feel like at least like 5, maybe more of those questions were questions that kind of were already asked like a month ago. And then like it was just like, hey, like, do you still think this is the right thing to do? And it's like, yeah. It's different after they got a bunch of feedback. Yeah, kinda. But I mean, some of the stuff is like the ascendancy swapping question. Like, sure, there's more feedback now on it, but like, I feel like all the feedback is kind of exactly what you'd expect. This is a good write-up from MP. Holy fuck, let's go. Then I asked for monsters pushing you around. That is a good point. It's a pretty big topic they missed. Alrighty, look at this shit. If there's anything neat. Waystone tab is coming as soon as possible. Yep, cool. I want that now. I'm really surprised it took this long, just because there's a lot of people that do not have that tab that will buy it the moment it comes out. So like, the sooner it's done, the more sales they'll make. I thought that would be like really high prio. Map balance pass. God, that's more rewarding. Okay, so they talked about this for a little bit. And one of the things that I was talking about with Breach and stuff before the stream is kind of what they said they're doing, at least the buffing part. Like, the base loot in a map, especially a map where you get unlucky, is nothing. Like, for example, I did the indoor run with the stagnation boss. I forgot. It's like one of the indoor maze maps. And it was like an 80 quant, 80 rarity map, seepage, yeah. It was a seepage. And it had like 80 quant, 80 rarity from tablets alone, not even counting the rare mods. And in the first 10 seconds, I killed one rare and it said map complete. And, what the fuck? Like, I've done one screen, I've killed one guy, like, what's going on? So hopefully this is them fixing that. Because like the base monsters in a map, there's so few sometimes. And it's not even like the map is just small. The map took like 10 minutes to finish clearing to go and find the breaches and stuff. But like the base loot in maps, even when they work and they spawn like 10 rares or 15 rares, the base loot in maps is really dog shit, and breach loot is really insane. Like, breach loot is too good. They should nerf breaches. They will nerf breaches. But I hope it comes with some pretty big changes or buffs to just like base loot. And hopefully that loot is not so stacked into rare monsters. Like 99% of all loot comes from rare monsters right now. I feel like it should probably be like no higher than 70% ever. And it's actually 99 currently. It's like so top heavy. Levers are gonna get changed. It sounded like the change to this was just gonna be that you can dodge roll cancel. And like they'll make it so things don't spawn on the levers, but levers are still going to exist. I just kind of wish they would just use the smaller levers, Like, in the zone where these things come from, there's 35 small levers and the one big one. Like, just use like 3 of the small ones, it'd be fine. I feel like they're going to nerf map sustain. Map sustain is like absurd right now. Like, it's pretty heavily fueled by 2 things. 1, breach, and 2, map bosses. But like, if you're mapping a lot, you're probably gonna farm breach, because otherwise what the fuck are you doing? But currently, like, there's 2 weird problems happening right now. 1, map sustain is so absurdly easy that you don't care about waystone drop chance. And 2, map modifiers that increase the difficulty of the map only give waystone drop chance. So for every non-citadel map you run, the objectively best thing is to have 0 suffixes and 0 modifiers that make the map harder, because they don't increase your loot. They only increase waystones, and you don't care about that. So I definitely think they should do something there to make that different. I don't know what they'll do, but it's kind of weird right now. That suffixes do up if you have 2% effect per modifier on maps. That is true. That is true. I forgot about that. So you get 6% mod effect if you have 3 suffixes. But that's like very small. You know, that's converting your 94 rarity to 99 rarity instead. But like, it is something, that's true. Whereas like in Path of Exile 1, you know, if you had 3 suffixes, you got 35 quant, 20, or not quant, you got, was it quant? 35 quant, 17 rarity, and like 15 pack size or something like that. I promise you 6% map effect is not turning 80 quant into 190. Like your full atlas is doing that with map mods and tablet mods, but it's not that one singular node. Which is where all the suffix contribution to your loot comes from, is that one single node. They want gear from Expedition to be able to give you player power that only comes from Expedition, which implies either like higher tier modifiers that could happen, like your fucking max life could become elevated and like also have like percent life on there, like temple mods, yeah. Or maybe like enchanted modifiers to add things. It sounded like Mark wasn't entirely sure what he was going to do yet, but it's going to get something that makes it unique in some way. We'll see what that is. Currently, I did a lot of Expedition on like day 1 or 2, and it was okay for like early self-found, but it's worse than just doing breach and identifying rares off the ground, so you know, And also remnants are way too fucking dangerous. Like one remnant being 100% extra as fire is like, that's insane. That's completely insane. I feel like that number was designed when it was physical as extra, but now it's everything as extra. Like 100, that's just double damage for one remnant. It's wild. Like 30 pen too. Pen's always been busted as fuck, but like 100% extra as fire is just double damage to all damage types. As soon as this happens, I'm going to send some more sets into softcore and do like a couple hours of Arbiter practice. No point in doing it yet, but this is good. This is one of the possible changes that we talked about here a while ago, was like how to make, you know, like the one portal in bossing kind of sucks. And this is a good fix to it, to make it so you can actually like, you know, learn, die, fail, and then restart. 6 portals. On difficulty 0, if you die, you can click a button and respawn the fight. And as difficulty goes up, the number of times you can do that goes down, which makes sense. I mean, if they wanted, they could literally make it only apply to difficulty 0, and it'd be fine. Like it's important that the first time you do content, you can learn it, and it's not one try failure. They have different abilities at difficulty 0. Kind of. I'm not entirely sure how Arbiter changes, but the way the Breach boss changes, going from 0 to difficulty 4, the number of hammers that come out of the ground in phase 2 increases. And I think that's it. Like, and health, yeah, health. But like, I mean, in terms of how the fight mechanically changes, like, it's just, there's more hammers, which means there's more overlaps occurring with other abilities, and that's it. I can't think of any different mechanic that changes on the Breach boss right now. Like, as soon as you start phase 2 of the Breach boss, every like 12 seconds or so, hands come out of the ground, and then they just attack you while the boss is doing mechanics, which causes overlaps that are hard. The higher the difficulty, the more hands. That's it. The point is, on difficulty 0, you can learn how the hands work, you can learn how to dodge them, and when it goes from 2 hands to 3 hands, it's not like, you know, a massively different fight now all of a sudden that you need to practice. It's like, if you die to that, you already kind of learned what it was in the first fight, and it's fine. I'm not sure how Arbiter himself changes. I think Alk was saying the timing on bombs is harder, and like you have to move further, but I haven't tested it myself yet, so who knows. Higher items should be more rewarding. The changes they talked about for making higher items better, I don't know if it's going to be enough. So like they're fixing it so certain mods that were getting cold are not going to get cold. But like that wasn't a very common problem, I don't think. Like T5 bows couldn't roll attack speed, T5 rings couldn't roll life. Like not ideal. I don't know if I found a single tier 5 ring ever in my entire time playing the game yet, because rings are pretty rare. But just the current, like, I guess, amount of culling, or the current, like, I don't know how to phrase this. The amount better that a tier 5 rare is compared to a base, like, rare isn't enough. Like, it just isn't that impactful. Like, for pretty much every item, I would rather have 2 like tier 0s instead of 1 tier 5. And that definitely, like, tier 5 should be like really exciting. Like, holy fuck, this is gonna be sick. And the other change they're making that might help with that, on weapons, Mark mentioned certain modifiers are having their weights rebalanced. For example, accuracy, life on kill, and mana on kill are going to be less common, and that will mean that a tier 5 rare is less likely to roll those. But it also means those tier 0 rares are equally less likely to roll those. It just really feels like they're not getting better by a big enough margin to like really care that much, and I really wish they did. Quick swap from controller, mouse, and keyboard coming soon. I'm gonna buy a controller. Big balance change with economy resets. I'm genuinely concerned about this, and I think they should change their mind, because the combination of these big changes only happening with economy resets, and then Jonathan later on saying the cadence of these resets would be similar to the old leagues in Path of Exile 1, to me sounds like that means 3 months. That means 13 weeks. That's way too long for a game in early access. Like, if there's some broken shit, like current Herald of Ice is bad. It shouldn't exist. It's dog shit. Every single character can put on 1 ring and one-shot the screen with any ability. That's bad. That's going to be gone in like a month probably on the first balance reset. But let's say 1 week into the next economy reset, there's another thing like that works that way. And it's not going to be fixed for 3 months. Like, that's too long. Like, shit that's broken, it's early access, blow us up. Fucking shit on our characters and say get fucked. And also just take all the gold away as well, so you can't even respec. Delete my character. It's fine. Like, I don't want the D4 backlash. I get it, but like, if these changes are only going to happen on economy resets that are only every 3 months, there's only going to be 3 of these, like, total until full launch. People have lives. Bro. Fuck, I don't want to be mean, but like, if your character getting nerfed in a video game is like a big deal to you, you really don't. Like, so come on. Like, the most important thing during this early access period is getting the balance of the skills and overall character power to the ideal point, so that when full release happens, the game is in the best state possible. And the way it gets there is with constant changes that pushes the player base to make new characters and try new things and find new broken shit, and fixing the broken shit and buffing the bad shit. If there's not a lot of changes, that process will just be slower. Hacks for a social engineering breach. Lamau. Rarity working as intended. Yeah, I mean, I think we just need more time before they make any changes to Rarity. I don't like it in its current state. I think it's bad. This has been talked to death, but we can do it again. In 12 years and 20,000 something hours of playing Path of Exile 1, I've never in my entire time felt like I needed Rarity on my character. There's certain strategies where you full stack Rarity But for most strategies, it doesn't really matter. In Path of Exile 2, I'm trolling if I'm not using Rarity. At least some. I'm absolutely just trolling. I have to have it. It's like, and it's purely because it scales currency. If it didn't scale currency, and it only increased the number of tier 5 rares you got, you wouldn't have to have it. It'd do kind of whatever, but like, it's just too important and I hate it. That's all there is to it. But I like it working on currency from tablets and from map mods. It's just player rarity shouldn't work on currency. Every other kind of rarity should. Because it feels good. It feels really fucking good when you put in 5 tablets that overlap on one little map, and that map has quant rarity and increased number of rares, and you go in there and it's huge. Like, that feels good. That kind of rarity feels really good. But like, I don't like my player power on my character. Like, on my Spark character, I have a sick fucking ring. Like 270 mana, 70 mana regen, and 26 cast speed or some shit. Super good. I've worn it like only a little bit. Because instead I'm wearing a ring that has like half of all those stats, but it has rarity. And it's like, fuck. Melee scaling, especially in-game, is not in a great place. Teamwork doesn't understand it. I genuinely think the biggest problem, or like probably the easiest way to fix the problem, is the passive tree. Like, this shit with like notables having reduced attack speed is just bad. It's so fucking bad. It should never be a thing. There's more reduced attack speed in the warrior part of the tree than there is increased attack speed. And there's not that many different clusters to even affect your damage, so you're kind of forced to spec into it. And increased attack speed doesn't really come from like any gear, really. It doesn't roll on rings, it rolls on only gloves. And like on weapons, it's local. There's like so few sources of increase to offset those reductions. The tree just like fuck. I'm curious, so they talked about armor a pretty good bit. And Jonathan mentioned something that was kind of interesting to me about the armor formula. Like, he made it sound like it's not just a 1-to-1 port with a like one changed variable from Path of Exile 1. Like, the difference between a small hit and a big hit in Path of Exile 2 is not as severe as in Path of Exile 1, which means there's something different in how like the entire thing works. I don't think it's just the pre-buff armor formula from Po 1. Like, what he was describing implies it's not just like one number change, right? Yeah, we'll see what they do to it. But yeah, armor in its current state is dog shit. And that's like one of the worst things about Titan, is that just like armor isn't impactful. I really feel like Molten Shell is the fix. With no cast on damage taken, having a button you can press on what's supposed to be a tanky melee class, where you can actively choose to be tankier, with a cooldown, is like, that works on all damage types. It makes armor actually useful for things that aren't just fizz. Like, Molten Shell's the good shit. But as long as armor only works on fizz dam, unless you use that one chest that, I mean, heat proofing exists too. I guess it works on fire too. It just doesn't work at all because the formula is so fucking anti-player that there's no point like ever speccing into armor. Like, you take the armor you get from wearing armor gear, and then you spec into block, and then hopefully it's fine. One thing that Darth didn't bring up, which is surprising because he played Warrior into the 90s, like, the way stun currently works fucking sucks. Like, I'm fighting a monster, that monster is stationary. When I stun the monster, it's no longer stationary. Now it fucking moves. Like, stunning it causes it to run away, to move, to avoid my abilities. When if I didn't stun it, it would have effectively been stunned because it would just stand still. Like, even on my range character, even on my crossbow guy, I don't ever want to stun. Stunning is bad. When I stun a monster, it starts to move, and all of my fucking shock burst rounds just miss. They just miss because the monster is now dodging them while it's stunned. Like, that makes me want to die. Like, the monster being stunned makes it move and avoid abilities. Like, that's just so backwards. Like, if my character just was bugged and didn't contribute to stun buildup, my character would be better. And on Warrior, this was so funny in the campaign. like the stagger bar is at 90%. I drop a totem, and then I attack the boss, and the stagger animation makes the boss outrange my totem. So it's like I'm prepping for this stun window, and then it's just fucking. But yeah, I hope that changes. I don't know if it will, but I hope it does. Like having like a stun animation is fine, but it shouldn't ever make the monster, especially the monster's hitbox, move. Charm animation more visible. I'm pretty sure they're gonna totally like rework charms altogether. They're kind of weird right now. Crafting and determinism is a fine line to walk. They don't want fully deterministic crafting, which I mean we've never really had in Path of Exile 1, except for, I mean, even things like combinators, like the RNG is how long it takes to win, but current edition is a bit too gamble heavy, more content is coming, yada yada. It sounded like they were gonna buff essences. Yeah, I suppose they're pretty deterministic. But even most things that are like deterministic, in quotes, are really just a very high chance of success, where you have easily enough access to crafting that you can pull the lever enough that you expect to win. Like if I alch an item, I never expect to get, 200% fizz, T1 fizz attack speed. I would never expect that to happen. But if I'm crafting a, life attack speed with bows, cast out multi-jewel, if I farm 25,000 purple juice, and I have 20 exalts and 20 nulls, I'm probably gonna get it. Because I can pull the lever enough times, and I can, paint the lever to be a certain color to target, that thing. But it's never most things aren't real determinism. It's just a little more targeting. And PoE 2 has options for targeting. They just don't exist. They buffed omens by 60%. They're missing 2 zeros. I don't even know if 2 zeros is hyperbole or not. It might not be. They did bring up a big thing with omens, locking, what is effectively the old bench crafts behind just ritual compared to being something like divines where every single part of the game can drop it is always kind of weird. If I could actually use omens and greater essences, I think crafting would be at least in a little bit better of a spot, but they just don't exist. I found 4 greater essences now, I think, in 400 hours played. They're, there's 2 fixes to greater essences to make them useful. One is make it so lessers can 3-to-1 into greater, or increase the frequency of greater essences by 10 to 20x. Right now they're not even close. The problem with 3-to-1ing is it would mean you just don't use lessers anymore, and I feel that's not ideal. You want to use both. But right now, hypothetically, if I found a chest that had 61 spirit, 45 lightning res, and I wanted to greater defense essence it, I might not get one of those in January. Probably by February I would, but that's too rare. The tools that exist are good. They just, their frequency of them is just way too rare currently. And it's not even if I use that essence, I'm gonna win. It's a random defense mod. It's fucking 10% to win. Breach density is very high, causing error message. Yeah, they're gonna nerf breach. This was not what I interpreted when they were talking about breach. They're gonna nerf breach. 100%. They just don't want to do it yet. And they shouldn't, because right now, if breach didn't exist, in-game mapping would be so unbelievably dogshit and boring. Because the current way in-game maps work outside of breach, nowhere near rewarding enough. There's just no loot, there's no monsters, it's bad. There's already one fix that they are putting in this patch to make maps better. I think they want to make in-game mapping without breach better before they nerf breach, which is good. This is mostly just a tutorial thing, but they definitely should make this better. Getting your Atlas points should teach you about the way mapping works. Go to a tower, use tablets, all that kind of stuff. But I don't really care. It doesn't matter to me. Just know what to do. They still 1 death per map. Rather just penalties. Amen. keep 1 death per map so that people complain about deaths that are bad. AKA fuck post-death mechanics. I feel like it's already too late, but I kind of wish. I don't even know how to do this. I just feel like monsters don't do anything, and like the only way to make them do something would be if we like saw what combat looked like without arch nemesis in the game. Because right now, like you're dodging volatile plants, you're avoiding periodic explosions, you're running away from like just shit on the ground from arch nem, but like monsters don't do anything at all. Like they don't matter. And I wish they did. They're there to body block you into arch nem explosions. Yeah. One good night is a crazy slam. There's like a few. There's a few monsters that have abilities that actually are dangerous. But there should be so many more. I feel like a lot of the things that I wish they added for like monster abilities that are dangerous are things that are dodge rollable. I don't know if I talked about this on stream or just to myself in the shower, but like the example of the kind of monster and difficulty that I would love to see are like the skeletal mages that they buffed in Path of Exile 1 when they reworked Act 2. Like they have this slow cast time, they throw out this slow projectile, and when it hits you, it does like fucking 20% of your life from a trash monster. And like in Poe 1, in like tight corridors, you might just randomly explode with this sometimes. But in Poe 2, you can dodge roll that and iframe it. And like that kind of thing, I would just love to see more of. Like a monster shoots a proj at you and it like actually hurts. And like you'll look at your screen, see it coming, and then dodge roll it. Like that is the kind of gameplay that I would like, not just dodging on death mechanics. Yeah, 1 death per map. Deal with it. Skill issue. They were talking about like being able to retry certain content, and it would be interesting if they like if you enter a map, the issue is tablet mods are always going to be removed. And as long as tablet mods are always removed, the map's always worthless once you've died once. So like even if they made a change where it was like if you die in the map before opening the breach will be there the next time still. But like if the tablet mods are gone, you don't care. So I don't know if putting in the effort to like make uncleared content stay after a failure would matter. Bleed should apply to ES. So this part of the interview was really chaotic because if the intention is that bleed bypasses ES and applies if it only does damage to ES, it means you can never play CI ever. You can never do it because any bleed will always instantly kill you. So I don't know what this means or is going to do. It would apply to the ES. Bleed bypasses ES. Like currently, bleed bypasses energy shield, but cannot be applied unless you do health damage. And then Jonathan mentioned bleed is almost intended as like an anti-caster mechanic. And he thought it was weird that it worked that way. So it sounded like it bypassing ES was intended. But if they change it to like work on ES and do damage to ES, then it's just going to be the exact same as it was in Path of Exile 1. I don't know what the fuck's happening here or what they're changing here, but the way it works currently is kind of weird. And mainly for players, like for players attacking, it definitely feels bad. Like when you drop a hammer on a target that has Archnem extra as ES and you didn't know because you didn't even know it was a rare monster beforehand because there's no glow, and then it doesn't apply a bleed, feels bad. We'll see what they do with that. I don't really care. Friendly reminder, we've gotten a little while without saying it. Minions shouldn't exist. Alright, Sympathy choice being locked in, still contentious. Yeah, I don't really care. Like, I feel like it's so rare that I ever actually respec ascendancies in Path of Exile 1. It's kind of the same in 2, is what it is. I don't really care. I don't care if they do, I don't care if they don't. Last 2 points should be hard to get. Yeah, that's cool that they're kind of hard to get. When I said Sanctum was easy, a lot of people were saying that I'm just an elitist and out of touch, but like, I feel like if I set up a Sanctum run and then I handed off my character to a random person in chat when I got to the last boss, you'd probably win. Because you're going to get to the last boss with every single boon, honor resist capped, and like you just hold right click, and it's fine. Like if you don't have good relics and then like it's hard, but just get relics and then you're chilling. Like if you have honor as cap and +3 merchant choices, you will always have every single boon when you get to the last boss. So you have 40% move speed boon, so you're not slow and you can easily do like the little gimmick phase. And then you also have all the damage things. So like even if you only have 100k DPS, you still kill them in 2 minutes. Just get relics, yeah. Have you seen how common relics are? Like if you clear to wave 3 times, you drop like 90 relics. Like you're guaranteed to have honor as cap after one clear to floor 3. And whether or not you get one merchant relic, that's not guaranteed, but like I mean, I feel like it's fine if you have to do like 3 practice sanctums before your last one. I don't know. I feel like the difficulty of Sanctum 4, if you actually, put in relics that are good and think like a little bit about your run, it's not that challenging. And if it's gating you, then just be glad you have content that you can work to improve on, because that's like genuinely the best part about these kind of games, is having something that's challenging and then overcoming that challenge. Blah. They want to upgrade the core Atlas tree. It's been falling flat right now. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the current Atlas tree is basically just click points that say your maps drop more loot. Minions exist, and they shouldn't. Someone mentioned in chat, minions are now going to automatically respawn if they get outranged and die. Is that real? It is? Interesting. Minions slowing down when the player is slow. So what was the bit here? Like minion movement speed is just set equal to player movement speed. Like if we're searching for like citadels, obviously it's simple. You just type in like, I mean, wait, is it even simple? Like, I don't even know how searching this with text is gonna work. I feel like I want bookmarks. Like I want to be able to drop a bookmark on the atlas, and then like that goes into like some window on like the left corner, and I can click it and snap to that area. But like just like a text search feature, like I don't even think I would care. It needs like pens, yeah. We'll see how this goes. It's kind of weird to navigate. Tornado bird nerfed. I hope not too much. I wish more bosses were as strong as this bird. This guy's so fucking sick. Like they just need to make the telegraph for the tornado a little bit more obvious. Like if you know what to look for, it's like a 2-second wind up. Like just move. But it's not super clear that he's about to fucking blast you into a new universe. So like when he's doing his like tuck before he spends, there should probably be like a little more wind stuff happening during that tuck. So it's like very clear he's about to start spinning. But this boss is like a really good boss fight. He's got a lot going on. He's fun to fight because like everything he does is like, it's pretty telegraphed and you can mostly kind of learn it and avoid it. I still don't like the bird that killed Quinn. I gotta stop saying that because like that's all the birds. But the mama bird that spat on Quinn and killed him, I still don't know what you're supposed to do when it starts like just spitting. It just spits in the air and then it lands on your head. But like, how do you avoid it? Like, is there like a move speed value you need, or like don't stop to attack? Like when I had like 25 MS boots, it was still hitting me, and doesn't that maim you as well? Like the answer is play Deadeye and have 94 movement speed, obviously. But like on a normal speed character, I just felt like the answer was to life pot through it because I was gonna get hit by it, or just kill it beforehand. I fucking hate the idea of checkpoints at maps. I like them in the campaign because the zones are big. I feel like if we're ever at the point where we're thinking about adding checkpoints in maps, that means there's serious problems with how mapping works that need to be fixed, not the band-aid of checkpoints. And there are serious problems. Like, I don't know how long we're gonna stay with this whole like go kill every single rare thing, but hopefully not forever. Like, just put a map boss in every map and make that be the objective, please. Like, fuck me, dude. I don't give a fuck. Like, there's just this one dumbass like bird that doesn't spawn in unless you walk in the right pixel, and I missed it in this tiny little inlet of a fucking map. Like, like fuck me, dude. Like, that shit is so annoying. But it's not even just the rares in particular. I've had this happen with Ritual as well. When I'm farming Ritual, where like in certain maps, what's that one called? It's called Slick. You have these constant things where it's like, is this the dead end? Is that the dead end? And if you go to the wrong one, it's like, oh shit, there was a ritual hiding in that tiny little corner. It's like a circle map where I feel like I always do 2 circles. But like some maps, just like the layout design of maps makes me constantly have to backtrack. And like maybe it's a skill issue, and like once I do the map more, I'll like know what the reads are and like find it. But like I don't want navigation to be something I think about, you know. I just want to walk in a straight line through monsters that are trying to kill me, and then I kill them and get their loot. And like if that line like zigzags occasionally, maybe it spirals sometimes, that's fine. Maybe I go up some stairs every now and then, who knows? But like I just want to walk around and kill shit, and not 2 minutes in realize that, oh fuck, I wish I was way over there. But even things like augury, like those like indoor maps, seepage and stuff, those are fine too. Like things like cells and PoE2, like those are fine. Maps that are like indoor maps that have lots of doors, so like you can easily navigate between the sections, and you can kind of like clear just by doing a bunch of lines up and down it or whatever, like, or like doing a circle and then go to the middle. Like those are fine. I feel like somehow it's very often the outdoor maps in PoE2 that have these layouts that just cause frustration. Whereas normally it's the indoor maps that suck. I hate Willow. Willow, I despise Willow. Like something about PoE2 makes me play by looking at the game and not looking at the map. But when you're in a Willow, there's no point looking at the game. The game is lying to you. You cannot step on those leaves. Like you have to just only play off the map because there's just fucking collision everywhere. Rune swapping? Oh yeah, they're adding swapping runes. I remember I said like right before, or like right when the game came out, and they like did like the Q&As and stuff, and they said you couldn't do that. I said that it wouldn't last a month, and I was wrong. It lasted a month and a week. Like that was obviously not gonna stay. That shit was real bad. Not something overriding. Yeah, it's overriding, not swapping, but like to me it's the same thing. It's okay, runes are common. It's like, so for runes, yeah, they're common. For soul cores, some of them aren't, and there will be some choice there, but like, you know, usually if you're rune swapping, it's because you just got an upgrade, and now your resistances are fucked, and you're fixing them with the runes. And like all the res swaps are pretty common, so it's kind of whatever. It's just like, yeah, it's like res juggling. So it's fine. And like all like the rare soul cores, you're not gonna like override this very often. So that's good. I knew it was gonna happen eventually. Glad it happened.